Alexander the Great's ambition has dragged himself and his army deeper into India after previously dissolving the Achaemenid Empire. Now a vast array of powerful kingdoms stand before him. One such kingdom, ruled by King Taxiles, has equipped the Macedonians with equipment and supplies in exchange for help in subduing his rival, King Porus. The Pauravan Empire fields an army that is more than a match for the Macedonians. A Macedonian victory would extend the borders of Alexander's empire and absorb even more soldiers and supplies for further expansion into India. A Pauravan victory would sustain King Porus's kingdom and spell complete disaster for the Macedonians struggling in the harsh Indian climate. The Macedonians encamp opposite the Pauravans, separated by a rapid rising river. Porus thinks only a madman would attempt a crossing, and Alexander only cements this belief. He sends for large supplies of wheat and spreads rumors that he has no intention to cross until the monsoon season ends. He also stages continuous cavalry patrols, which, with no consequence, cause Porus to relax. Under the cover of an intense storm, Alexander moves a large portion of his army upriver to a previously discovered crossing. He leaves Craterus behind with 8,000 infantry and 3,000 cavalry to keep Porus's attention on the main camp, and instructs him to cross the river and envelop the Pauravan army if he is left unguarded. Alexander begins his crossing. Porus becomes gradually more aware of a crossing, but believing it to be a feint, sends his son with only 2,000 cavalry and 120 chariots to investigate. It is too late, however. Alexander's force is already across the river and promptly annihilates this force. Porus, after losing half of his cavalry in one move, decides to face Alexander with the bulk of his army. Porus deploys his infantry behind the war elephants in the center, protected by cavalry on the flanks, with a reserve of infantry and war elephants just behind his line. He leaves an infantry contingent to disrupt any attempted crossing by Craterus. Alexander deploys the phalanx, which includes his elite hippasus in the center, backed by archers. He divides his cavalry in half. One half including his elite companions and Scythian horse archers on his right wing, and the other half hidden on his left wing. He plans to eliminate Porus's cavalry and then hit with the phalanx. The Macedonian horses' fear of the elephants prevent a charge on the main line, so Alexander seeks to lure Porus's cavalry away from them. Alexander uses his horse archers to destroy the Pauravan chariots, which are immobilized by the mud, and lure the Pauravan cavalry into the open, where they are assaulted by his heavy cavalry. Porus meanwhile orders an attack on the Macedonian center. Porus sees his left-wing cavalry in danger and shifts his right-wing cavalry to aid it. Conus, following this movement, circles behind the Pauravan line to attack the rear of the Pauravan cavalry. Porus's attack on the Macedonian center is a bloodbath. The Macedonian phalanx is not accustomed to full war elephant charges and is gradually giving ground. The Pauravan cavalry is completely surrounded and is destroyed. The Macedonian phalanx nearly breaks, but remains firm and repels the Pauravan war elephants. Some are killed, but others veer around in a rampage, trampling infantry and ripping holes in the Pauravan line. The Macedonian cavalry then envelops Porus's left wing, careful to avoid the war elephants. Porus knows he is in great danger and makes one last counterstroke with his reserve. His infantry is engaged with the Macedonian cavalry, so he uses 40 war elephants in a desperate charge against the Macedonian phalanx. Alexander's phalanx is better prepared and uses missiles and skirmishers to repel the war elephants. Panic quickly spreads the Pauravan camp, and its garrison flees along with any infantry capable of fleeing the Macedonian envelopment, while Craterus's force pursues. His force arrives in time to cut off the retreat of the majority of the Pauravan army, which surrenders soon after. Alexander spared Porus's life and allowed him to continue ruling his kingdom, albeit in Alexander's name. The Macedonian victory proved to be an empty one, however. Alexander's exhausted army mutinied shortly after and refused to undertake any further conquest. The Macedonians were forced to cross the Gedrosian desert and suffered horrendously for the chance to sail back home. This animation was created and narrated by Jonathan Webb. For more great battles, visit www.theartofbattle.com. It's like a museum, except not boring.